Hi, happy holidays. Welcome back to Crafting a Country Life. I'm Andrea, and I'm finally ready to share a pretty large swap that I'm preparing. Well, I actually just finished preparing it for my sister Annette. Nettie is over at Nettie H Creates, and she and I agreed to do a swap together for Christmas. And we decided to go with kind of a vintage theme. So I tried to stick kind of exclusively as much as I could to like 1940s, 1950s kind of Christmas themes and colors and so on. And we're planning to mail these out in about a week to each other. So I'm going to jump right in and get started. I also wanted to thank Jill Norwood for hosting Saturday Morning Makes, and I will be posting this video on Saturday Morning Makes. If you're so inclined to participate, you can upload a video of anything that you've crafted and share it with all of those crafters who are involved in Saturday Morning Makes. And let's get started. So the first thing that I have for my swap is a pair of socks that I had picked up that have sort of a pink theme to them. So I wrapped just in simple tissue paper with some eyelash yarn and some wide ribbon. So that's the first item. I'm not going to unwrap that because I have it all taped up. It's just a pair of pink socks. So that will go into the swap. And I prepared a Christmas basket for Nettie. And inside the basket, this will be wrapped up with cellophane, but inside the basket, I decorated a jar of Dollar Tree ribbon, a jar of Dollar Tree buttons. Just put a little label on the top and then added some dark green rickrack around the cover of this. So I thought that gave it kind of a nice, kind of old-fashioned look to it. Okay, and then the next item is a little organza bag filled with different kinds of snowflakes that she can embellish. There's also a couple of stars in there. This one is a button there, so I just tried to include a little assortment of some different things. Here's the star and a few little Dollar Tree and Hobby Lobby. These are foam, glitter foam stars here. This I know is a Dollar Tree plastic glittered ornament snowflake theme. This one I'm quite sure is Hobby Lobby, and this is a larger button. So there's that, and then those go into the bag. And there's also a smaller silver star and a little silvery, I don't remember where I got this one, a little silvery sticker. It's a wood veneer sticker on the back. Kind of glittery silver. Okay, so that is the bag of buttons and snowflakes. The next item from the basket, bring this in a little closer, is a tiny bottle that I picked up. I picked up a box of these at Michael's quite a while back, and I filled it with, this was at Home Goods. I should share this. This is kind of pretty. You know, I was in there a couple of times and looked at this and thought, oh, wouldn't that be a fun thing to try making little charms and dangles with all those pretty Christmas colors. But the price was, I think, $12.99. I just thought, oh, it's a little pricey, you know. And it's got some little charms around the top edge, which I thought there would be more of those charms inside. However, there are not. So just beware if you're willing to buy this. There's quite a few beads here, but yeah. So, you know, I can use this in a lot of different projects, and there's plenty here that I could gift. So the second time I was in there, I looked at them and I said, oh, you know what, I'm going to treat myself. I just love the colors. And there's all different shapes and sizes. There's some heishi beads in there as well. Silver balls, you know, little seed beads, all kinds of fun Christmassy beads. So I filled this little jar with some of that mix, and then I added a couple of tiny jingle bells that I had in my stash. Put a little tag on it, some twine, and a little pink flower on top. And then the next item, a little Dollar Tree plastic jar. Just put a little label on top with a vintage Christmas ornament. And inside, I made a little batch of, tiny beaded snowmen. I just love these. They're so much fun to make. I sat and watched Christmas movies while I was putting these together. So they're just, small beads that I got at Dollar Tree for next to nothing. I put a spacer bead in between the two snowmen beads. And then on top is a heishi bead and a seed bead to make the hat. So they were really simple to make. And you can get these materials pretty much at any craft store. So those were fun to put together. So those will go to Nettie as well. Put the cap back on. And then the last item in this little basket are these wooden clothespins. And I wrapped trims around them. And I added little gold safety pins with some heishi beads and seed beads on them, tied up with a pretty ribbon. I thought, these are so adorable. These would make really nice gifts for any crafter. Whoops, this one just came out of its clothespin. Here's the next one. This is a wide velvet ribbon. Here's the little beaded safety pin on this one with some holly ribbon. And the next one is a plaid. This is a thinner plaid ribbon. And I used some Dollar Tree ribbon to tie it up. Again, another little safety pin, dangle, charm. And the last one is some wide ruffled lace. And again, here's the little charm on it. So I thought those were really pretty. So that's the little gift basket with all the goodies. And the organza bag with the snowflakes. So I'll put that aside. And the next thing that I have to share is a gift box that I picked up at Dollar Tree. And when I saw these on the shelf, I thought, those are so pretty. I love the soft pastel colors, the gingerbread, the pink, and the mint, which I think a lot of us are fond of. And so I picked up 2 or 3 of these. And it's a good thing I did, because when I went back the following week, there weren't any left. And inside, I gifted her a whole stack of zigzag stitched paper ruching that I made with my sewing machine. Some of these are double-sided. And there's a little zigzag stitch running down the center to hold them together. So there's quite an assortment in here of different ones. I think she'll enjoy using these, and they can be embellished. And since she's a paper crafter herself, I tried to include as many things that she could use for supplies and things that she could use in her own paper crafting. And this was one of them. So I didn't decorate them too much. I'm going to let her kind of use them as a canvas, and she can decorate them the way she likes when she's ready to use them. Okay. This beautiful mint colored velvet ribbon I absolutely love. I got this, I believe, at Joann's, and it was exactly the color that I wanted. It's very soft and drapey, and I just love it. Okay, the next item, is a bag full of embellishments. We decided to go with, I think, 4. So I made up 4 and put them in an organza bag. Let me show you what they are. There's one more. I tried to do an assortment of sizes, and I thought they had kind of a nice vintage look. So I used, just a die-cut scallop circle. I put a wooden snowflake with glitter on it on top, and then I made my own bottle cap charms with some vintage paper, a vintage paper pad that I used. And let me show you, primarily I used this pad, which was available, I think, last year from Michael's, and I ended up picking up 2 of these, and I love them. They really have a mid-century feel to them. I also used a little bit from this Santa's Workshop from Cartabella, and I've had these for a couple of years. There's a little bit of this in the projects that I'm going to show you as well. Okay, So that's the first one. And this is the second one. Oh, I also wanted to show you, I put a little bit of Nouveau drops on the edges of this. This is the gold color to pick up the gold in the bottle cap. Okay, and then on the top I had purchased some, and I think you can use glossy accents to do this as well, but I've had these for a while. They're actually kind of yellowing, which I thought initially, I don't know if I like that, but it gives more of a vintage feel to the project. So yeah, they're old. And then these are adhesive, so I just dropped that on top. But I did put a little bit of Beacon 3-in-1 glue on there to hold it. I don't know how good the sticky is on these. But I've heard other people say that they've used glossy accents after they put their paper circle in, and then they just fill it in with glossy accents and let it dry. I haven't tried that, so I don't know. But this seemed to work out fine too. So here's the second one. And this is using that Cartabella paper pad. I found a tiny little snowman in one of the papers in the pad. So I put him in there. And 3 layers. There's a Dollar Tree snowflake on the back. And then another purchased snowflake. I'm not sure. I might have gotten these at Michael's. I've had them in my stash for quite a while. And then another wood veneer, white glittered snowflake with some stickles on the points. So there's that one. And then this one has a vintage style Christmas tree in the center. I love the white. I used the antique white Nouveau drops around the edge on this one. There's a dark green scallop in the background, and then a felt snowflake. And then this one here. Oh, these are stuck. Little snowflakes there. The Dollar Tree version of the, I think I got these at Dollar Tree. It was either Dollar Tree or Hobby Lobby. And it's got a snowman in the center. Oh, whoops, sorry, no, that's Santa Claus. And I used the white bottle cap on that one. Okay, so those are the bottle cap embellishments. And then the last thing, and this is sort of the main event here, I created a altered file folder. And I'd seen a number of these online. They're absolutely stunning. People have done all kinds of amazing things with them. And I noticed that the ones that I was looking at were mostly torn, like they had torn edges on the file folders, and then they were just kind of assembled from torn pieces. But I wanted more of a clean look on the edges, so that's what I did. I left the file folders somewhat, straight along the edges, if that makes sense. So the first page here, okay, it opens this way. Put this down. And this is the first layer, all right? Adjust my camera a little bit. Let's go down. So the left-hand side has a little pouch. Okay, on the right-hand side, I included this tag. Now I've attached these with the repositionable glue dots. So let me bring it up closer to the camera. And this tag I had put in a previous video, so I'm gifting that to my sister. I know she's going to love it. I distressed the edges of the cardstock with Vintage Photo. The altered file folder itself was glued and sewn. I did decorative sewing around the edges. I don't know if that really shows up. If you look really closely at the edge, you can see a little bit of sewing. There's zigzag and also straight stitching around the edges. Okay, and then over on this side, over here, you can see I also kind of crinkled the papers up a little bit before I glued them down, just to give it more of an antique effect or a distressed effect. Here's a coin envelope that I distressed around the edges, added some vintage ephemera, and then, if I can get this opened, inside I've included some goodies for her to open up. There's some vintage style ribbon, It's new, obviously, but it looks kind of 1950s. And here's another one. And I believe these I had picked up at Joann's? Pretty sure Joann's. Okay, and then here's a little Dollar Tree paper doily. Okay, and I put it into a coin envelope that I distressed. Let's see if you can see that. Just looks a little worn and stained. Wrapped the doily around it and tied it with some eyelash yarn. Here are the cards. These are from that small Cartabella 6x6 pad that I showed you. And all I did was cut out the little cut-aparts, and then I put a little vintage photo around the edges. Here's the next one. Christmas list. These are so cute. And then this one here, Noel. I think she'll enjoy. Oh, there's one more. North Pole. Get a nice close image of that. Hope it's gonna focus in, but yeah. So that was a fun little thing to put together. Okay, so those go into the coin envelope, and the coin envelope goes back into the larger coin envelope. Okay, that gets clipped right onto here with paper clip that I made using a large Dollar Tree. It came from the Dollar Tree button jars that I showed you previously. And I put a little Hobby Lobby gingerbread sticker on there. And then I just used cardstock on the back, hot glue to hold it together. So that goes there. I'm probably going to wrap this in cello or put it into a cello bag to hold it together. I mean, things are, you know, they can fall out somewhat easily from the altered file folder. On the front here, on this panel, I decorated using a shower curtain ring wreath that I made with fluffy eyelash yarn. Added some pearl beads and a satin ribbon. Some paper ruching using crepe paper streamers to stitch up on my sewing machine, and then distressed the edges of this vintage look cardstock that I used from the Michaels pad that I showed you, the 12x12 pad. Here's another little vintage style doily from Dollar Tree when they had their poinsettia doilies. I didn't see any this year, but this is from a previous year that I purchased these. And these are from Red Lead Designs. They do rubber stamps and other kinds of vintage style ephemera and such. And I absolutely love these rubber stamps. So stamped them, embossed them, and then added a little vintage photo around the edge. But aren't they cute? Look at that little reindeer. Oh, the sweet little girl. So she'll be getting those in that package. Gee, I forget what's in here. Oh, I'm not going to unwrap this, but there are some small wood veneers with poinsettias on them. She can alter to suit her style, you know. So there's that. And then this is a packet of some vintage and some vintage look papers and things that I thought she'd enjoy using in some of her paper crafting. This comes from a stamp set that I have, so I embossed it, and then I did my stamping on a cream colored card. So I thought these are really fun and very, you know, mid-century looking. And then a couple of oblong doilies that I got from Amazon. These could be stained, painted, you know, printed, splattered, whatever you like, distressed in some way, added as pockets on journals and such. So there's that. And then some old muslin that I tea stained, a little scrap of that. And then a napkin. This is a new napkin. It looks kind of vintage. Honestly, I don't remember where I picked this up. It might have been Dollar Tree. I think it might have been. So I included one of those. And then a sheet of old music paper. This is actually from an old music book that I got at a thrift store. So she can cut this up and use it in some of her ephemera and embellishments and such. And then our mom passed away last January, and we were going through some of her cookbooks when my sister was up visiting in July, but one of the cookbooks that Mom always had was a Christmas cookie book that I actually have a copy of it myself that I'd found at an old bookstore. So I didn't feel so bad taking one of the two books, and I'm taking some of the papers from that and using them for paper crafting vintage style projects. Here's an old ledger or an old notebook paper with very fine lines on it. This is old as well. And then one of her old apple cookbooks had a spiral top on it, and so I included this pretty light green paper, but it's already distressed from being so old. Mom was 97 when she passed away, and she was quite a cook and quite a baker, so I think my sister will enjoy using some of these papers. This is from the Christmas cookie book. Sweet little image of an angel. The Christmas cookie book. And then an old sheet from an old German cookbook that Mom had. I thought my sister would enjoy that. Okay, so these, she'll have fun using these in some of her projects. She does like the vintage, the mid-century style quite a bit, so that'll be fun for her to open up. All right, I'm going to put that aside. Now, you can flip this down, this panel. I'm going to fold it back up. I trimmed the bottom here with some Dollar Tree pom-pom on this Christmas tag. Let's fold this back in. I'll reassemble my ephemera later for her. And these are the two flaps, the front side. This pocket here, I've adhered this with repositionable glue dots, but it has a paper clip with torn fabric ribbon, a little die cut ephemera that I got from Michael's, and the envelope is filled with some light bulb die cuts, vintage light bulbs, and some mid-century looking gold and white glittered cardstock stars. So I think she'll also enjoy that. All right, so we'll fold this up. And then you flip the front part down to open it further. And on the flip side, okay, there's a pocket here made of fabric that's been glued down onto this cardstock, which was mounted onto this particular flap of the altered file folder. And inside, I put some foam stickers around the outside, which you can see here. And in the pocket is a tiny coin envelope that I made. It has a little, light bulb from Hobby Lobby. This is the flat back type. So that's there. And then a tiny little tag that I stamped. Okay, and then under that there's a vintage looking reindeer, also from Michael's. They had a few selections of ephemera this year that had that vintage look. And then I tied it with the Dollar Tree ribbon, has the candy canes in gold on it, and then this gold sequin crochet thread. Okay, inside a tiny bit of Christmas ribbon that I took the wire out of, made a little pamphlet out of it. So you open this up, and inside there are a couple of small paperclip embellishments with stickles around the outside. And again, using those vintage images from the paper pads that I showed you. Yeah, these are really cute. And then this one with the little Santa head. Oh, I just think he's so sweet. Look at. Okay, so that's what's inside there. I'll pop this back in, and I'm going to leave this aside for now, and then I'll reassemble this after the video. So this goes here. All right, so that's that flap. Then you open the inside, and on the left, see if I can lift this up a little closer to the camera. On the left-hand side, I put a three-dimensional library pocket here in green. It's music note paper. There's a little reindeer at the bottom, and then a felt flower on the right-hand side, which I picked up at Dollar Tree. Some little embellishments on there, puffy stickers of a candy cane. And then inside the pocket is a little bundle of fabric that I picked up. I think I shared this in a previous video. This fabric that I found at Joann's, and I know my sister's going to love it. It kind of has a little bit of a 1960s feel to it. So I tied it up with the green rickrack, which was very popular in the 1950s and 60s. And then I added a larger safety pin, gold safety pin dangle with a bulb pin on the side and a holiday Christmas tree button that I picked up at Joann's. And some more of those buttons from the Dollar Tree jar that I shared. So I think she's going to really love this. So I'll pop that back into its pocket. And on the central area here, there's a little tuck spot on the side. I added some die-cut snowflakes that I had. And then adhered on there, it's come off now, but I had some repositionable dots, and I have this little tiny package with a triple bow that I made using my bow it all. Oh, sorry, I bumped my camera, which I absolutely love. That the bow it all saves so much time. So I did the bow and then added this little stamp sentiment, Merry Christmas, Christmas wishes that I had embossed and cut out. And then it has a little bundle of table scatter that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. And the table scatter, I checked before I bought this to make sure that it had holes going through, so you could string these on beads or dangles, what have you. So there's Christmas trees in red and green, a little, some holly leaves. These don't have holes in them, but they could be glued on to anything, really, I think, just fine. And then these kind of jewel-shaped ones here, a little hard to see with the glare. So that goes here on the side. Just reattach that. Then I added you can see that, there's a rosette at the top with some text hanging below. And then tucked into the pocket here, I've included two little spools, and I got these dies. I got these dies from AliExpress. It's a thread spool die set. And so I cut them out in red and cream, and then I did some distressing around the edge and wrapped them with some vintage laces. Now this I had gotten from my mom's sewing basket, so I think my sister's going to love that. Mom was a doll maker. She was a teddy bear maker. She did sewing, incredible knitting. She made gorgeous fisherman's cabled sweaters for all of us in the family. Just a very industrious crafter. So that, and then this bundle is a little package of distressed tags that I cut out and sprayed with vintage spray on both sides, and she can use these in whatever way she likes. There are also some more of those little embossed tags that I made, and these tags, or the embossing that I did on these tags, where did I get these? These are Flans rubber stamps, and they came from, I believe, New Zealand. I've had these for several years now. They were available on Amazon, and the price was reasonable, the shipping was reasonable. Took forever to get here, but they have some beautiful, 1940s style rubber stamps, vintage type rubber stamps that were really, really unique. I also dyed up some key tags that I've had in my stash for a while. And here's another one of those Flans rubber stamps with the embossing. Here's another one that I made up on a kind of a vintage looking plaid cardstock, and a few different sizes of the distressed tags. So I think she'll be able to put these to good use and enjoy using them in her crafting. Okay, so that goes in there. And these little ribbon spools, laces go in here. Okay, so we'll close this up gently. And then the top panel up here, I'll probably lose my front folders. It's a little hard to handle, but okay, if you can see that. Okay, there's a tuck spot on the top as well at the very top in the right-hand corner, I put a little die-cut scallop. It says, "We wish you a Merry Christmas." And there's a teal bow that I created using my bow it all. And underneath there's just a little glitter doily. Okay, now then, in the tuck spot is this little folder that I created. This is an AliExpress die. I believe. A little ephemera there. And then the Dollar Tree ribbon. The paper itself is just a wide white stripe, white and red stripe. I distressed it with pink. And then you open this, there's the little Velcro dots from AliExpress, which, by the way, work quite well. I was happy with that purchase, and they were next to nothing. I think I paid $1.63 for a package of, I don't know, there's a lot. And they're self-adhesive. Nice strong adhesive on those. And then you open this up, and on the right-hand side, there are some vintage die cuts. We decided to include a package of die cuts in our swap. And these are all from AliExpress. And they really have a nice vintage look. There are deer, these old versions of a snowman image. And then in the back, some lollipop, which I cut out of red foil cardstock. So there's that on that side of the pocket. And on this side of the pocket is a little notebook with a shaker, a vellum shaker in the center. A Michael's glitter die cut candy cane and a small felt Christmas tree sticker. So I made just a one signature booklet. There's the twine holding the signature together. And then inside is some lightweight Christmas paper. That's kind of a vintage flair, I thought. I've had this pad for probably 10 years. And since it's lightweight, I don't use it as often as I do the cardstock. But it's great for little journals like this. This has more of the weight of a heavy paper. So it's fun for journaling and adding ephemera bits and such. So that goes on the right-hand side. This was probably the most fun swap for me because I was really focusing on trying to stick exclusively with one theme, you know. So finding just the right materials to fit that theme was a challenge, but also really fun. These are cutouts from the large Michael's pad that I showed you earlier. And then tags. Oh, I just love these candy canes. Look at that. So she can embellish these cards in whatever way she likes. I left them plain for that reason. So those get tucked into this. This corner pocket is a cutout from a large page from that Michael's paper pad. I just trimmed around the image and then glued it down. So these get tucked here. And then the red doily is a Dollar Tree find. They had those on sale. Probably last year I bought those. So that gets tucked in there. Oh, but there's more. All right, let's flip this over to the back side. Carefully close that up. Okay, now I'm going to flip this around. This is the back side. This little package is clipped to the top of the back flap with another clip. There's the little clip that I created. And inside this bag, these I had shared in a previous video as well, but I want to just show you real quick. These are pretzels with a pretzel die that I got from Simon Says Stamp. And then I just tucked it into this little goodie bag with some little beads at the bottom and some tiny little candy cane sequin mix, white and red. And these are the pretzels. And they've been decorated with Nuvo drops and little bits of bling that I've had in my stash for quite some time. So hopefully she will enjoy those as well. So those are clipped right here with the paper clip. And let's see what's inside. the flap. Now this was trimmed. I used an old bed sheet that I bought thrifting. 100% cotton, very soft and worn. Had a very soft patina to it. And I just tore it into strips and then ruffled it on my sewing machine and glued it down to the edge of this file folder flap. You can see the zigzag stitching at the bottom and the straight stitching along here. Okay, so let's open this up. Okay, and on the right hand side, there's another fabric pocket that I frayed the edges and glued it down. I added a ribbon, wide ribbon piece on the front with glue. Inside is a tiny little spool of glitter twine and these are adorable little tin ornaments that I found at Walmart, believe it or not, and they were 98 cents a piece. There's the back. It's just, you know, kind of a galvanized looking tin with twine tied at the top. But aren't they cute? Oh, just bumped my camera, sorry. Love these images. Very vintage. So those go in here. I added a little bit of buttons onto this one and some pom-pom trim at the bottom. On this part here, I had adhered this, which I also got at Walmart. Can't believe I found these at Walmart. 98 cents. It's a little Masonite vintage gingerbread house ornament with twine at the top. And I did have it adhered with the repositionable dots, but I'm not sure they're going to stay. But isn't this paper beautiful? I just love it. And again, from that Michaels pad, believe it or not. So I distressed the edges on all of these cardstock panels and then wrinkled them up a little bit before I glued them down onto the altered file folder. Here's one more close-up of the stitching that goes around. When I created this file folder, I distressed the manila files before I started cutting and gluing them together into this project. So using some distress sprays. I think I also used a little bit of like instant coffee crystals and you know, dissolved them in water and then sprayed them on with a spray bottle to give it that old look. Okay, so that is the end of this story. I hope that you enjoyed this. I'm going to flip this back over, and after our video is over, I'm going to go back and put it all together and wrap it back up and get it shipped off to my sister, and I'm hoping she's going to enjoy it, as seeing it and having it as much as I enjoyed putting it together. It was a total delight for me. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful holiday, and I hope that you enjoyed seeing my project, and we'll see you back soon. Bye for now.